Hello and welcome back to React Native tutorial on the topic of server connection. Lastly, we have created the web services and create a mobile application to connect to this web service, but it is just only one-way connection. In other words, we just retrieve the data or get the response from the server. But for this video, we are trying to submitting or sending some requests to the server too. So firstly, we will test with our app.js file, which should be the server part. And if you look at the service that we have now, we have only one route, which is app.get and /welcome. So the thing that we are trying to add here is to add some parameters to this service, and this parameter or the argument that we will need to add to this service will be useful to let the user submit some data through this argument. Okay, let's see some example. So let's move back to this service name welcome, and if you would like to add argument for getting or get HTTP is where we will use something like this one colon and some parameter or the parameter name, for example like this one name, and this one will be the parameter sending from the user to the server. So we will modify the message here to be like welcome plus some parameter that we will get from the user. So before that, we have to extract the sending parameter from here, from name, by using such a command like this one, eq dot params dot name. So this name and this one must be matches. So if you get this variable, now we can use it to add on this message. And this is all for the simple example for sending parameter through this get service, and then just bring the name that the user sent to this service out. So let's save this file and starting the server if it does not start yet, and test the output. So first thing first, you're gonna have to run this service. You can use nodemon like this one, npx nodemon and app.js, and if there is no error, the server will start at this port 8080. Similarly, or usually, we can test this service by calling localhost at this port and provide the service name. Here, if you switch back to the app.js, you will see that in order to call the welcome service, you're going to have to provide one parameter, which could be any text, anything you want. So here I'm trying to add a parameter with the name like mobile. So if you call this URL, you will get welcome mobile in return. The mobile come from here, so you get welcome mobile. So if you change this mobile to something like web, you will get welcome web. So it depends upon the sending value. If it is some text, so you will get the value like a welcome plus text too. Okay, so this is how we can submit a simple parameter or some simple value through the get service. If you have multiple value that you would like to send to this service, you just add something as you want more, for example surname or last name, age, and so on. However, for this simple example, we will try to just only submitting one variable, one parameter. And this is all for the server part. Let's move to the mobile part. For the mobile part, as we have done in the previous tutorial, we will try to use also Visual Studio Code to modify or add some mobile codes too. So we click here File and choose New Window, and for the new Visual Studio Code window, here we open the existing React Native folder, which is here for me, and then I have the existing server example.js, and I'm going to use this file in order to connect to the server, submitting some value and get the output in return. So my design will be very simple. If we switch to the render part here, we still have the text here, we still have the button there, but we are going to add text input around here to let the user input something, and then when we click connect button, the data will be submitted to the server, and the server will return some result, and we will show it in the response text around here. So first thing first, we are trying to add text input around here. Don't forget to import it, text input. Okay, import this class from React Native, and then here you can use text input tag, text input like that. And because it does not contain anything between the closing and opening text, you can shorten it by just replacing the slash at the end. And for the text input, you can for example guide the user by providing the placeholder, and I will try to just only provide a simple word, simple sentences, your name, like that one. Okay, first thing we will try to run this code and check it on the emulator. Okay, firstly make sure that you open the terminal and then check whether you connect to the emulator or not. Here I'm connecting to the emulator, the menu player, through this port like in the previous example, and now we are trying to run the codes to this emulator. Okay, let's start. And after the macro window happens, and finally you will get the result of this one, and of course there will be one input text here at the top, and the text and the button like the previous example. Now we are trying to get the value from the input text. So to do that, we just move to our code here, the input, and add the event on change text, and bind this event to some function which could be like this dot set text. Okay, the next step will be like to create this function set text equal to the arrow function, and of course this set text function will have one parameter, which is a text sending from the text input. So we provide the input parameter or argument here, text, and when we get this kind of text, normally we should save it into the state variable. However, if we move upward from the previous code, we don't have any state variable to contain this text yet. So let's try to create a new variable like a name, something like that one, which is at the beginning will be just only a blank text, and then after getting any character from the text input, we just try to update the straight variable name to this text like that. So this is how we get the input from the text input and place it in the state variable. Next, we will try to submit this state variable, this .state.name, to the server and get the response back. To do so, we just move a little bit to the connect function here. This connect function is binded to the connect button. So we will just firstly modify something a little bit. The service, the IP address and the service name will be okay, will be the same, welcome. But we're gonna have to add the parameter that we would like to send or submit to this URL too. It means that you can add the parameter to be submitted to the server here directly to the end of the URL, or you can add it inside the fetch function here. So let's try for the second choice by adding something like this one slash and then provide the state variable called name here, which will be the input value from the input text. So this will be in the same format as we test on the web browser. You see, on the web browser it will be something like welcome slash the name, and in our code it will be like also welcome slash and some name here. So whenever we connect to the server with this URL and this parameter, the server, of course, if it return back to the app.js, will return the message welcome with the name that we input or submit to the server. So if this text is returning back to the client or the mobile part, it will be here from this code set to the state variable, namely response here. And this state variable, of course, is linked to the text here. So the output will be welcome with the name that we just submitted to the server. So let's save this code and see the result. Okay, after refreshing, we just input some username here, anything, actually any name here. So let me try mobile and then cloud connect, and you see that the message here changed to welcome mobile. And if you change to any name, any other name like web, it will be like welcome web too. Now you see that we can connect to the server exchanging some data in GET format. However, for some sensitive data like username, password, or some secret message, it is not good to use the GET service. So to make our submitting data more secure and longer and more effective, like for sensitive data, we should opt for another HTTP service, which is post service. So let's try to create the new service. So firstly, switch back to the app.js. Okay, I just hide this one and create the new post service by using the command like this one, post, and then of course you can still use the welcome service here, and generally the format will be quite similar to the GET service. So we just create a structure like this one. However, for the post service, the method to get the data will be different. You cannot use like a iq.params and some name like app.get. So to get the value from the post service for Express.js and Node.js here, we need another package, which is body parser. So in the first step, we have to install this package, and to install it, if your node monitor is running, you have to terminate it by pressing Ctrl C and select yes. And then here at the terminal, you just use this command npm install or npm I and the package name, which is body, and the parser like this. And after the installation, now we are trying to use this package by the first step, import this package like this one, equal to require body parser, the new package that we have just installed. Then we really need to use what we call middleware to let the body parser handle every submitting request by post service to the server. So firstly, we use the command like body parser.json to let body parser handle JSON data from the user, and also we prefer to use body parser to deal with the encoding too. So it will be something like that. So these two lines are like the middleware to deal with all submitting data in post format. The next thing that we will do here is to get the data from the post service, assuming that the user sends some data through the post service and you would like to get the data. So we are trying to get the data by firstly declare some variable to get the data, and then use request.body dot the argument name or the submitted values name, which could be anything. So for example, it could be like a name too. Okay, so we will try to demonstrate how to submit the data to this service later. So after getting this name variable, of course you can do anything like usual. You can not request respond.send like a welcome and name too. So the response here is similar to the response of the get service. Okay, so this is the post service and how to get the data by using the body and just list. The result will be the same. So let's test this service. Okay, after saving this one, make sure that you run node mon again by using this command. Okay, and now the server is running at this port. The next step after creating the post service here, we have to test it. Before creating the mobile application to use this service, you have to make sure that this post service runs without any problem. To test this service, it is a little bit more complicated than the get service. For get service, you can use the web browser to test it, but for post service, you can't. You have to create the form and submit the value from the form to this post service. But of course, there should be a simple solution, and you can use any kind of software that simulate the post service there. However, here we will use the Visual Studio plugin. So click at the extension part of the Visual Studio Code and then search for the REST client. Okay, something like that. Okay, so this package or this extension will be the thing that we use in order to test any service, server service. So click here. If you haven't installed it, you can click install around here. For me, I have already installed this REST client there. So after installation of this extension, okay, now we will use it. We will test through it by come back here, creating the new file, for example like a server with the extension .rest. And in this server.rest we will place some testing code like here. Firstly, it could be any comment like testing post, something like that, one post service, and then you just type post here and provide the URL, which is now localhost first at the port 8080 and welcome. So this is a service that we have created before, like this one, /welcome at post service. So the method should be post here, and then you just provide the content type. And here it will be application JSON, and then provide a blank space here and provide the JSON format of the data that you would like to submit to the server. Here we are going to submit the value, the key and value in this format: name, which is the key, and the value, which is could be anything that you would like to submit to this service. I like to submit mobile here, for example. Firstly, make sure that you provide a space here. Secondly, make sure that the name here, the value here, have the name which is the same as the one here, name here. Okay, because you're gonna have to submit it to this script, this key, and this key must be here after the body part. Okay, so if you have complete everything here, you just move your mouse to the send request and click it, and you see that the response is okay, 200, and then it show message welcome mobile. So this is how we can test the post service simply in Visual Studio. So now our post service is ready, and what we are going to do next is to deal with the mobile part. So we will keep this server running and then switch back to the mobile part and modify some code around the connection part here. Previously, for the get service, we just add some more text to the end of the URL, but for the post service it is different. You cannot do something like that one. You should submit data in different method, in different form. So we just provide the fetch URL normally as usual, but at the end of this part you just add one more data, set of data like this one, and here you will start with like a method. Okay, so just specify it like post, then you will submit the data to the tag body here. We just add some data that you would like to submit to the server here. So we know that the data that you would like to submit to the server will be in the format of key value. So it will be like this: key, which is like a name, because the key that we will get from the server part, if you switch back to it here, like a name, you see. So the key must be the same as the value here. So if you switch back to the mobile part, you must make sure that this one is the same as what we will retrieve in the server part. And of course, another part, it is the value, and the value will come from the set variable name that you would like to get from the input text and submit to the server. Unfortunately, we can just not submit this JSON to the server directly. We're gonna have to make it or convert it to string. So in order to convert this JSON to string, actually it is a JavaScript object to string to JSON, you're gonna have to use the command JSON stringify. So we just provide this function to convert the JavaScript object notation here, JavaScript object, sorry, to JSON, which is actually the string. And finally, you're gonna have to also provide the header to confirm that this submit data is in JSON format. So just provide the content type to be application/JSON. So the server will know that the submitted data from the client is in JSON format. So this is a modification to submit the data in post format. Let's save this code and then try to submit anything, any name, for example mobile, and click connect. You will get welcome mobile back, similar to the previous example using get. Let's change to another thing like web and connect, you will get web also. So that's how we connect to the server using post service.